Hello, this is Matt O'Leary, and holy cannoli, 2019 has hit hard in January. We got plenty of new albums and lots of ones that I'm looking forward to too. This is a review of 3 new records from months of January and then some that just kind of snuck in the door in late December. So let's get it going. First up is my man Chaz Bear as Toro Y Moi, of course, and it's a 6 full-length album called Outer Peace. What to say about Outer Peace? Maybe a little setup will help this one. I always think of the spectrum between sound writing and songwriting. Songwriting to me is about the song's flow. It's more about the narrative. It's about crafting something that's satisfying as a complete experience and often takes a little bit more patience to grasp. Whereas sound writing to me is kind of my way of talking about music that's more about the visceral flavor and instant gratification. And I feel like with Toro Y Moi, the super smooth, super trendy R&B sound of his 2017 album Boo Boo or this new record are definitely more on the sound writing side. Not that that's necessarily bad, because Chaz is really flexing his producer muscles on this one. But I think the best artists balance these two forces out. Their music is exciting and infectious, but also deep and nuanced and takes time to appreciate. What For, which I think came out in 2015, is actually my favorite Toro Y Moi record, and that's just because it's so song-centric and it's got all these unexpected chord and structural changes. And while this album, Outer Peace, is so sleek and so cool and so young and fresh and wow, I think it's gonna peter out for me. Every song is under 3 minutes and I feel like the whole thing is not more than half an hour, so it's not going to put you to sleep. And for sure there are some infectious little samples on this thing, like the very Little Dragon-esque down-tempo soul of Miss Me, or that nocturnal, melancholic, looping piano on New House, or that incredible bass line on Ordinary Pleasure. I got a little Where's Waldo for you. So the first person to find the Yoshi sample on this thing gets a cookie. I guess I'll mail it. No. Even though I do enjoy the mood most of the time, I don't see Outer Peace having that lasting quality. I feel like it's just a little bit too sparse, a little bit too underwritten to really be my thing. And maybe that sparseness, that simplicity is kind of a cultural commentary, because we do have some short attention spans. I get it, Chaz. But it's about a 6 out of 10 for me. Next up is an album I was super jacked about, and it did not disappoint. It's the Taiwanese math rock band Elephant Gym with their new album Underwater. I actually went to Taiwan in 2013, which is cool. How do I explain this? I feel like in Taiwan there's this very proud underdog sort of ethos there, and it seems like the perfect cultural springboard for all sorts of alternative music. The band settled into this vibe of like the new Chan record or the new Toe record, with a little bit of hip hop in there, a little bit of clean vocals just sprinkled in there as well. And these vocal tracks do beautifully to break up the instrumental noodling on this album, which after 3 or 4 tracks can kind of wear you down. This is frankly one of the most diverse math rock albums I've ever heard. It's got so many risks on it, and they all pay off. They threw in these shoegazy chords at the end of the song Satellite, which match up perfectly with this dizzying bass line. It's quite the moment. And the prog hop of the song Bad Dreams is pretty cool. Prog hop, that's right, you heard it here first. The song has its dynamic ups and downs, and then it almost dies out completely before the rap verse comes in from So What. And he just does incredibly to seamlessly transition from English to Mandarin and then back. It's a very unique listen between the swelling guitars and the unpredictable piano lurching. I described Toro Y Moi's album as nocturnal, and this one definitely has some of that as well. It's that or Underwater, I guess, fittingly. The pathos injected in the song Half is further intensified by these swift waves in and out of the meandering bass line and the tom rumbles and this lower key chill piano part. And the textures on a song like Walk or like Underwater are just so luscious. even in the peppiest of grooves, there's still this dark opulence to the whole thing. Like on Quilt, which brilliantly throws these complex jazz chords on top of what's just a more lighthearted, poppier song. I can't say enough about Elephant Jim or what they've done with this new album. The bass is the most important instrument, I'd say, but every instrument plays their part, and you're just going to be wowed by this thing. It's an 8.5 out of 10. Way back in 2015, I threw a gargantuan prog metal record on my top albums list from a little-known trio called Mammoth. And that album still just blows me to smithereens. It's just unfathomable how human beings even did that. It was a Scale of Summit-esque technical metal album with a touch of jazz fusion thrown in there consistently across the whole thing, and all the sweeping arpeggios you could ask for, with melodies that take you in and out and through and there and back again. That album, it was called Innate, and seriously wild stuff. And it's undoubtedly this melodic element that really sets them apart from a whole host of bands in this realm, and even gave them an opening spot for the band Haken, who I saw a couple years ago. Their 2016 album, Deviations, did deviate a little bit from the jazz, but I probably didn't give it as much quality time as it deserved. But my well of prog metal has been dried up for too long. It's time to jump back in. I do think Mammoth was probably a better band name than Thrailkill, which just sounds so like... But if you're a wicked sick guitarist like Wes Thrailkill, who has that last name, pretty much obligated to use it. So this new album's everything that is you, and it's got all the classic, angular, anthemic moments you'd expect from this genre, like on the title track Everythings. But they managed to bring a dose of that jazz back and really do a nice job of contrasting the two sounds, metal and jazz, in the same song, which is why I was drawn to them in the first place. Like on the song Where, with its threatening chugs that lead into that section with the almost aquatic bass tone, or the song Gone, which just pummels and pulls back and pummels and pulls back and all culminating with this solemn and ethereal guitar fingerpick part. The album's back half slows down the onslaught of distorted riffs and focuses more on comforting the listener with some warmer moods and bringing back that opening violin theme from the first track. They definitely tried to sustain this melodic theme throughout the album, but I don't feel like it turned out quite as recognizable or quite as integral to the overall experience as they might have hoped. They definitely could improve their presentation and their album crafting. Like the little tracks that are thrown in for the listening experience are very obvious and very not well integrated into the whole thing. So this is a 6.5 out of 10 for me, and a definite recommendation for anyone who's into this technical instrumental style. Thrailkill don't yet have the output to match a band like Animals as Leaders or Scale to Summit. They don't have that clear brand quite yet, but they're definitely talented enough to get there. Okay, so that's gonna wrap it up. I hope you don't miss these albums, especially the last two, because they kind of snuck under the radar a little bit. But as always, thank you so much for watching.